What's up, LoreHounds? iTZKooPA here inside the wargaming.net booth. I'm here with Chris Cook, the head of PR for North America. So you guys have changed a lot in World of Warplanes since we first saw it at PAX East. One of the major things is you've clearly defined the amount of planes and the classes. So right now there's 3 different nations represented. You announced the 4th, which was Japan.
Yep.
And you also have tightened up the classes. So how many do we have to choose from while playing?
So there are technically 3 classes in World of Warplanes, and actually, as you mentioned, the announcement for the Japanese warplanes are going to have sort of a special subclass, carrier-based aircraft. So they're going to come off aircraft carriers. They're going to be sort of the small, nimble planes that are really known for their speed, really known for their maneuverability.
So in PvP, a lot of the, we see there's one mode right now, and then you have a tutorial and a team training. What are we expecting for launch out of those?
I think obviously the major focus is PvP. World of Tanks, we've been a huge success, mostly focusing on the PvP aspect of the game. So World of Warplanes, that's going to be the focus for us still. As you mentioned though before, we really want to make sure that we're giving those players who maybe aren't familiar with World of Tanks or even games that are even aircraft based in nature, that they have an opportunity to sort of get into the game and learn how things go. As you mentioned, we're really working hard to make sure we have a robust and an informative tutorial system to give people sort of the basics of even simple things like how to move the plane up and down, left and right, but also how to engage enemies, how to engage in combat, as well as probably looking at a more detailed explanation and information system for things like the hangar, where you keep your planes, how you upgrade them, how the tech trees and research paths work and things like that.
Yeah, well, you saw the tech trees laid out. They're pretty World of Tankish, where you go down and then you can choose different engines and stuff to put in the planes. I also noticed at the bottom, getting to the lower tiers, we're seeing more jets. And when we spoke to Victor earlier this year, he was kind of like, yeah, we'll probably have 1 or 2 early jets, but are you guys still keeping it's the early prototype jets and then it's no lock-on missiles, it's still just chain guns and stuff like that?
Yeah, we want to make sure things are balanced. So in the game, we're going to have planes ranging from the 1920s all the way to the Korean War, so around the mid-1950s. So as you know, there were some jets in that time period of the Korean War, but like you mentioned, we're not going to have lock-on missiles, we're not going to have things like that are really sort of would more than likely just kind of skew the balance that's out of control. We want to make sure things are still balanced for everyone, no matter what tier you're going to play at.
So we've noticed as the closed beta has gone on, you guys have been adding maps and obviously changing up a lot of things. It seems that the ground-based objectives have become more of a staple in the maps rather than just some of them having them. Is that something that's going to be continuously refined, or could we have just straight dogfighting maps and stuff like that down the road?
I think it's really going to ultimately decide on what the players want to play as. Ground-based attack craft are a class in the game, so as long as people can pick that and go into a match with that, ground-based objectives are always going to be part of sort of the overall dynamic of a match or of a battle.
And again, if you guys haven't actually checked it out, the reason for the ground-based attacks is just so it doesn't go on and on and on and nobody dies in the dogfighting. You can actually get the game to end by attacking these ground-based objectives over time, kind of a war of attrition in that way.
Exactly. I think it sort of plays off of some of the objective modes and objectives we have in World of Tanks. In World of Tanks, there's 2 ways to win. You can take the enemy's control point, hold it for a certain amount of time, or you can destroy the other team's entire tank brigade. And in Warplanes, it's kind of the same idea. You can shoot down all the other enemy fighters and you win the match, but if you also take control and destroy these ground-based targets, you can win a match that way as well.
So the game's still in closed beta, but you guys, when we were talking, we talked about a few different things that are upcoming. So what are the big features we're looking for?
Yeah, so we're in closed beta right now. A couple weeks ago, though, we added some new content I think are really sort of making players happy. It's going to give them just sort of a new sort of experience in terms of how they play the game. So up until a couple weeks ago, the game was pretty much just you have the planes, and that's it. You can't upgrade them. It was really more of a system of giving the players like a taste of like what the planes are like, how they fly, and things like that. So a couple weeks ago, we actually introduced a new module system into the game that is sort of a precursor to a more fully fledged upgrade system. So how that works is basically every plane in the game is going to have a base product. This is the plane that you start off with, but as you gain experience, as you play more matches, you're going to research different components that you can upgrade your plane with. I spoke a little bit before about accessibility and making sure that the newer players who are unfamiliar with the game have a good time and don't just take off and die instantaneously. So the module system is actually a set of pre-arranged components and upgrades for a particular plane.
Is that a precursor to crew skills, or is this in addition to that? Because that was talked about as a possible upgrade.
That's going to be an addition. We haven't talked much about pilot skills yet. We kind of hinted at it at E3 that will be in the game, and it's going to operate pretty differently than obviously how it was in tanks. But the module system is really sort of our, not necessarily first step, but the path we're taking towards the upgrade and customization features.
What about 15 on 15 organized fights? So I got 14 buddies, and we want to play against your 14 buddies in kind of like a guild war.
That's definitely an idea that's on the table. You know, I think right now we're taking a lot of feedback from the community for the open beta phase, and a lot of people have been talking about that. So we'll keep looking at ideas like that.
So we got World of Warplanes in closed beta right now, heading to open beta soon.
Soon.
Are we talking about launch anytime? Like, do we have a time frame?
You know, at E3 we said like our goal is 2012. That's still our goal. Open beta will hopefully be coming sometime soon. So yeah, we're just working hard now, making sure that the game is going to be as good as it can be.
Thanks so much. It looks awesome. Better and better every time we see it.
We're glad you liked it. Thanks a lot.